Good morning. So, uh, so I don't know why people are still talking about this Luka trade. Like, it's gonna catapult the Lakers to a championship because it's not. Um, I get it, Mavericks fans, they don't want to trade Luka. But what choice did you really have? What choice did you really have, to be honest with you? You know, I mean, they went to the finals last year, lost against Boston. I mean, I think that was their best shot to go to the finals. Or I think that was their best shot to win the whole thing, but they didn't. And the Mavericks knew that if they continued to build around Luka, it was never going to work because Luka is ball dominant. Cedric needs the ball in his hands a lot. Don't play a lick of defense. Not athletic. Demands the ball too much. Play ISO ball too much. Plays hero ball too much. So the Mavericks are going to waste all their time and energy building around Luka, and when they need him the most, he flames out like a James Harden on prom night. Prom night. Now I'm not saying that he's James Harden because obviously he did ball out in the finals, but what I'm saying is Mavericks fans need to look at the bigger picture. For one, y'all got AD in return. Okay, I know he's out right now, but when he comes back fully healthy, the Mavericks have the best chance in the West to go all the way. Outside of Denver, outside of OKC, who I think it's a flawed team. Um, Outside of those two teams, I don't really see nobody in the West. You know, the Grizzlies, they're a good up and coming team. Um, Not the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies in the West. Or the East. I don't know. I think the Grizzlies in the West, but they was never going to win. You had Kyrie and KD. No, you had Kyrie and Luka, two ball dominant players that needs the ball in their hands and don't play defense. How in the heck was that ever going to work? It was never going to work. Now they could have said, you know what, we could give you Kyrie. We could give you Kyrie for AD. Nah, we need to go a little bit younger. Okay, we'll give you Luka. Okay, we'll give you AD. Because the Lakers was not gonna move anybody else. Or I don't think the Mavericks wanted anybody else except for AD. Because like, I know AD has injury problems. Luka is nursing an injury right now. That's why he's not really playing up to snub. I get it. But they both injury prone right now. Or they both dealing with injuries right now. But in the long run, the Mavericks won this trade. And, you know, if they could get a ring out of this would cancel everything. But the fact is, you could have had Luka for another 10 years. I don't think Luka's going to be playing for another 10 years. He might play until he's like 34, and then he'll call it quits. I don't see any of these cats playing longer than 10 years. They're not gonna pull a LeBron James or John Stockton. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna pull a Michael Jordan. They're not. No, they're gonna do what they can and bounce. You know what I'm saying? And retire, whether they're Hall of Fame worthy or not. I don't think Melo's a Hall of Famer. I don't think James Harden's a Hall of Famer. I don't think Westbrook is a Hall of Famer. And not because they never won any rings or never made it to the finals. No, obviously Westbrook and James Harden did in the OKC days. They won a couple of MVPs. Melo, as good as he was, never won MVP. He was always in discussion of the MVP, but he never won it. So if the Mavericks can get a championship out of this trade, then everything is washed, right? Like Mavericks fans can forget about, Mavericks fans can forget about, like, who's Luka again? You know what I'm saying? Like, because the thing is, winning cures all, right? That's what a lot of people say in sports. Winning cures all. Nobody likes to lose. So when you win a championship, that's going to erase everything. Because you gave up a 25-year-old for an injury-prone center who's constantly hurt. Now, Mavericks fans have to answer this question. Would you, like, do you think the Mavericks would have won, or do you think the Mavericks would have made it back to the NBA Finals or won a championship the second time around if they kept Luka? They had everything intact, you got Clay, Kyrie, and Luka. How is that all going to work? All three, naturally, all two of them are past their prime, but they could still put the ball in the hoop, Even though they lost their athleticism, they could still put the ball in the hoop. How is that going to benefit towards Luka? I think you needed that extra star like an AD, you know what I'm saying? Like if they would have finessed the Lakers and still kept AD, no, if they would have finessed the Lakers and got KD and then just got like a couple of draft picks down the line, like future first draft picks, I think they would have probably won a championship if they kept all of them together. You got Gafford, Lively, AD, Kyrie, Luka, Clay, and then plus you got the bench. That's pretty deep. Oh, there's no doubt in mind they would have challenged the Celtics again. But again, this was never going to work. And when Luka was traded on draft night, I said that what they did for Dirk Nowitzki, what they built around Dirk Nowitzki was a championship team. I didn't see that when they went to the finals. I think the West was very weak. The Lakers wasn't at full strength. Like some of the teams in the West wasn't, competitive, and I think, when Dallas surprised everybody because nobody expected Dallas to do anything, but at the end of the day, where does that say for the Mavericks? Again, if the Mavericks can win a championship within these next 3 years, what do they have to cry about? What do Mavericks fans have to cry about? Because the pressure's on Lakers right now. Because they got Kyrie, not Kyrie, because they got Luka. The pressure's on the Lakers. The Mavericks have no pressure at all. I mean, the Lakers didn't really have to give up much, just AD. And now they're struggling to find a center, which they did in Lynn. But, you know, he's not an AD, I'll tell you that much, you know. You know, unless they just go small ball and just do what they did in Miami when they had Bosh, Wade, and Allen, not Bosh, Bosh, Wade, and James, and they didn't have no center. They had mediocre centers. You know, they had, you know, guys. They had Haslam, Bird, Anthony, Joel Anthony. They had Birdman, Chris Anderson. So they didn't really have any centers, you know. So they played small ball, and it worked kind of because those three made up for, you know, a very huge part of their offense. They even put Chris Bosh at the 5 at some point, you know. So, you know, 4 trips, 2 NBA Finals, or 4 trips, 2 championships. You know, you could say that the Heat accomplished, you know, because if they had went 4 times and they lost out 4, then you can say, well, yeah, this team didn't live up to our expectations, you know. Or they could have went to the finals 4 times, only won once, and that was against OKC when they were like a bunch of babies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they could have lost to the Spurs twice. They could have lost to the, you know, obviously they lost against the Mavericks, so they could have been 1-3 in the NBA Finals, and then lost again to the Spurs. You know, they split against the Spurs. Spurs won one, and then they came back and won the other one. So, but at the end of the day, fans, you take championships over longevity because you don't know when your team is ever going to be back in the NBA Finals. You just don't know. So if the Mavericks can win a championship within these next 3 years, you take it. Because right now, as good as Luka is offensively, you can't count on him defensively. That's just never his game. That was never his game. You know, that was just never his game. His game was always about offense. You know, never defense. I'm not saying that he don't try on defense, but that's just not his game. Because he comes from a different basketball background than Americans. You know, he never went to college. You know, I mean, he's been playing Euro ball since he was 16. You know, against grown men in their 20s, 30s, 40s. So that actually prepared him for the NBA. You know, he actually had a smooth transition to the NBA, kind of like Joker. You know, Wemby. You know, all these guys that's in, you know, overseas or foreign countries that help them kind of to, you know, a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I know the Mavericks win this trade. It's just, you know how sports fans are. They in their feelings, like when we, like for me, when my Knicks got Carmelo Anthony, I was kind of on the fence. You know, like I was like kind of on the fence. I was like, you know, is this good or is this not good? How does this help? Because before we were pretty good. You know, we were pretty good. We had Stoudemire. We built around him. We had the best start since early 2000. You know what I'm saying? He was in the MVP conversation with Rose and Braun, you know. Um, but the Knicks had to mess it up because the Knicks needed a star, a second star behind Stoudemire, you know. Instead of just, thugging it out and retooling, and then finding like extra pieces to, you know, better the bench because we, we had a bad bench. I'm not gonna lie, we had a bad bench. Our starting five was pretty solid. It was just our bench that was just not good. And then after that, the Knicks made the damn trade. Traded everybody, not everybody, but traded most of our assets for Carmelo Anthony. Now, did it work? No, because we didn't amount to nothing. As good as Carmelo Anthony is, and as great as a go-getter bucket he is, we didn't amount to nothing. We got out of the first round. Couldn't really pass the the, the Pacers. We got out of the first round for the first time. We ran into the Pacers. We ran into the Heat, and the rest was history. Stoudemire broke his hand, and J.R. Smith in his, go and goes when we needed him the most. Iman Shumpert tearing his knee. It's like everything that could go wrong did go wrong for us, Um, and then we just collapsed. Everything just collapsed around us. So, was I happy that we made the trade? No, because I knew in my mind that forming super teams wasn't really the best idea. They needed a second star in New York because they felt that having Melo and Stoudemire would be a 1-2 punch. They just never worked out. Their chemistry was just off. I think, if the Knicks would have just built around Stoudemire like they did before, probably added like a second role player or a third role player, I think we would have been pretty good. But the fact that we needed to get that extra star, it backfired on us, because we didn't win anything, to be honest with you. And the mission in New York is to win a championship, because we haven't won a championship since 1972. 1971 to 1972. That's the last time the Bucks won a championship. And they just recently won a championship not too long ago. So, yeah, take it from me. And I think Melo was like at, 27, 28 at the time of the trade. So he's been in Denver for quite some time now. So, but, we'll see if the trade works, Um, we'll see if the trade works between, uh, trading Randall and getting Cat. I think we still won that trade. I mean, I know we won that trade. There's no doubt in my mind we won that trade. Um, I mean, the Denver Chinzo, um, losing Hartenstein, that was kind of a low blow because we needed that rim protection. Um, losing, I mean, we still got Precious, but we just need that dog at center. You know what I'm saying? Like we keep on waiting and hoping that Mitch returns and stay healthy. Like, we might as well just trade him. Probably get something good for him, like a package deal or whatever, because that dude can't stay healthy to save his life. And it's sad. Dude has so much potential. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, but again, the only way this can fire back The only way this can fire, the only way this can look back for the Lakers if they don't win a championship within the next 3 years. Because LeBron James is gonna leave, obviously, not leave, but he's gonna retire pretty soon. So they're probably gonna try to build around Luka, just like how the Mavericks did. You know, so I guess it's whoever wins the championship between those two. You know what I'm saying? Who has a better chance of winning a championship moving forward? Because if you think Luka is going to carry this Lakers team to a championship, you sadly mistaken. Not with that roster. They're going to have to revamp and do something. Cause boy, he's going to immediately ask for a trade. Boy, he's going to double dip down. He's going to say, I want to play with Jokic. Or he's going to try to have Jokic come over here, knowing that Denver is not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Denver is not going to do that. Man, that guy won them a championship, and they haven't had a championship in quite some time. In a long time, I should say. So, they're probably going to retire his jersey, probably build a statue of him, just like how they did Dirk and Shaq and MJ and Barkley and Iverson and Wade. You know, like I could see that. I could see Denver doing that for Jokic. I don't see the Lakers doing that for Luka or the Mavericks. You know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, it is what it is, man. Let me know what y'all think. Who won the trade, Mavericks or Lakers? Remember, both teams have to win the champion. Both teams have to win championships within the next 3 years. So that's 2025, 6, 7. So from now to 2027, if both teams fail to win a championship, this trade was a squash. Or this trade was a failure. But if one of them wins the championship within the next 2 years, then obviously the team who wins the trade wins the championships, right? That's like, Magic. I don't know if Shaq requested a trade, but they got Shaq. They got Shaq for a bunch of draft picks and players. Teamed up with Kobe, surrounded him with a bunch of good role players. They won championships. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Magic tried to build around Dwight Howard. Didn't work. You know, even though they got him to the NBA Finals, but they ran into Kobe and Paul Gasol. You know, Lob City. Clippers with Jordan and Blake and Chris Paul. You know, they was trying to win a championship, but to no avail. You know, they was known for more of a circus show than anything. Like there wasn't really threats to win anything. They was just super fun to watch. Um, but yeah, I mean San Antonio winning 2 championships, so it can be done. You just have to have the right pieces. Find the right pieces, and I know the Mavericks have the right pieces. I mean, the fact that they didn't have to give up Blake Lively or Griffin, not Griffin, Guilford, that's a bonus. That's a bonus right there. And then you still get to keep Clay and Kyrie. All you had to do is just give up a 25-year-old Luke who don't play a lick of defense, is always bitching about not getting the ball. Like, oh man, the Lakers want all the stars, but don't know how to a winning recipe for nothing. You know, like the Lakers want all the stars, but don't know how to put a team together to win. You know, like DeMar. Why do you think DeMar DeRozan didn't want to go there? Chris Paul didn't want to. Not Chris Paul. Paul George didn't want to go there. Kawhi didn't want to go there because they see how toxic and bad it is. You know, like even Klay Thompson didn't even want to go there. There's something fishy in the water of Los Angeles. Could it be LeBron? Who knows? It's very hard to play with him. And Luka's gonna find that shit out the hard way. Take a page out of Kyrie. Kyrie's been there. He's done that. I mean, he was fortunate. He was very fortunate enough to win a championship with LeBron. He won his championship. Boom, he dipped out. Because he didn't want to be second. He didn't want to become second fiddle to LeBron. And that's what you get when you play with LeBron. You get all the praise, but then again, you get all the blame. Like what was LeBron James doing at 25 years old? Or I think Luka's 26. He was winning championships. He made that famous decision. Well, this summer, I'm taking my parents to South Beach. And I have the game. It's just in my, it's just in storage. But I have the game. Um, but anyways, man, let me know what y'all think about the trade. Who won? Who lost? Such and such. Like, comment, subscribe.